So you're thinking of moving to Texas, or maybe you just got here and you've heard that we get tornadoes and now you're freaking out. Look, I get it. I still get texts from my dad every time there's a storm anywhere in the state just to make sure I'm still alive. So I'm gonna give you some reasons why you don't need to stay up at night worrying about tornadoes, as well as some helpful tips that you can use to stay safe in the event that you do find yourself in a storm here in Texas. Now, to help ease your mind, in Texas there are only 4 deaths on average every year in the whole state of 30 million people due to tornadoes. And that's pretty low when you compare it to some other states like Alabama at 14, Missouri at 8, and Tennessee at 7. All these states have lower populations than Texas by far, and yet see more deaths annually to tornadoes. One reason for this is that only the northern part of Texas is prone to tornadoes, and a large part of that area has very little people in it. It's also important to know that over 39% of tornado-related deaths come from residents of mobile homes. Storms are most likely to occur during the spring and in the fall when rainfall is at its highest, but a storm can occur any time of the year. That's why it's important to always be prepared in the event of a storm warning and to pay attention to the weather if you live here in Texas. If you are in the DFW area, you can download the WFAA app for local weather-related news and warnings about potential storms. Just search WFAA on your app store to get it. Most homes built in Texas have a room that's safe to go to in the event of a storm, and unless it's a very powerful tornado or directly connects with your house, it is unlikely to destroy your entire property, which means shelter is your best friend in the event of a tornado. In the event of a storm, you should go to an inner room without any windows, which will usually be a bathroom. Sometimes a closet with no windows is also a great option. Make sure to be fully dressed and wear your shoes. If you've got a helmet around, you can put that on as well. Bring pillows and blankets to help cushion yourself in the event that a tornado does happen to hit your house, and make sure you aren't in the path of large objects that could fall on you. You should bring your pets into the room with you if possible, on leashes or in carriers. If you're in a car when a tornado is approaching and you cannot make it home safely, driving to a large sturdy parking garage to park in during the storm isn't a bad idea. This can protect your car from hail damage and most tornadoes. If none are nearby, you should drive to the nearest building, exit your vehicle, and find a room with no windows on the bottom floor. If it's not possible to reach a building in time, do not park under an overpass or bridge, as there are usually more debris around these areas, which are the most dangerous thing in the event of a tornado. You also should not continue driving your vehicle in the event that a tornado is going to hit you. Instead, put your car in park, keep your seatbelt on, and cover your head with your hands or an object if at all possible. If there happens to be a low ditch nearby and you have time to safely exit your vehicle, you can leave your vehicle and get as low into the ditch as possible. Make sure to get a good distance away from any vehicles or large objects if you do this. You should also never hide under a vehicle in the event of a tornado. So if tornadoes are particularly concerning for you and you've got the money, you might consider investing in a storm shelter. There are various types of shelters that you can purchase, from underground shelters that double as a bomb shelter and a stash for emergency supplies, to the more modest twister pod, which fits 4 people and can be installed in your garage exclusively for tornado protection. These provide even more safety in the event of a potential tornado than hunkering down somewhere in your home. These options don't come cheap though, with a twister pod currently costing around $4,000 before installation. Now, weather warnings will often warn of a potential for tornadoes in the storm. You will also likely hear a loud siren just before a storm approaches. These are usually sounded if there's a tornado warning issued for the area, there's a severe thunderstorm for winds at or above 70 miles per hour, if a trained storm spotter reports a tornado in the area, or if there will be hail of 1.5 inches in diameter or greater. So if there is a potential for a tornado, you should take precautions and treat it as if there's going to be a tornado. It is better to be safe than to be sorry. If you are driving and you can visibly see if there's a tornado forming around you, then what you'll see is a rotating funnel-shaped cloud, an approaching cloud of debris, darker green-colored sky, large and low clouds, and there may be a large hail present. If a tornado is near you, then you will hear a loud roaring sound, almost like a loud waterfall or train. So I will say, in the more than 5 years that I've lived here in Dallas, I've never personally come close to seeing a tornado. But we do hear a few storm warnings each year, and I have had the opportunity to drive through a neighborhood that was hit by a tornado in Richardson a few years ago. The damage to some of the houses was extensive, including taking a few roofs off of the home, but no houses were completely destroyed, and as far as I know, there were no fatalities from that tornado. While it's very unlikely for you to come across a tornado while living here in Texas, I do recommend you take precautions during storms and don't treat them lightly. I hope this video has helped you learn a little bit more about tornadoes here in Texas. And if this video hasn't scared you off from moving to Texas, check out my video about why you shouldn't move to Frisco, and I'll give you the details on all the cities you should be looking at instead.